Figure that one out. Safety. Yeah. I know you already done one. Huh? I thought it would be a pretty considerate.
They said when they closed it up back in...
That's disgusting!
Union busting!
Union busting!
That's disgusting!
Union busting!
That's disgusting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
Union busting!
That's disgusting!
Union busting!
That's disgusting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
Do better than that. What's disgusting?
Union busting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
Union busting!
That's disgusting!
Union busting!
That's disgusting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
What's disgusting?
Union
I
busting!
didn't hear you. What's disgusting?
Union busting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
Union busting!
That's disgusting!
Union busting! What's disgusting? Union busting! Union busting! Make some noise!
Rauner is a ruiner! Rauner is a ruiner! Rauner is a ruiner! Rauner is a ruiner!
Right to work has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Right to work has got to go. Ho, ho. Right to work has got to go. We'll get on the same page.
Well, good afternoon. On behalf of the Champaign County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, I'd like to welcome all of you. My name is Rod Roberts. I'm the chairman of the board for the Chamber this year. Everyone in this room is a distinguished member of the business community in Champaign County. And we thank you for taking time from your busy schedules today to join us. If I may, I would like to also take a moment to thank the iHotel for partnering with us today and to acknowledge the extraordinary, helpful staff in working with the Chamber to put this event together. Champaign County is a beacon for business in the Midwest, hosting some of the nation's largest innovators and employers. The Champaign County Chamber of Commerce is in the midst of all those, and they are the premier business association in the area. And I might add, they are the 2014 Illinois Chamber of the Year, and you can applaud that. We represent over 1,125 job creators who employ over 60,000 people in Champaign County. We know what it takes to run a successful business. We also know the sacrifices that our members have made over the past several years as the state of Illinois has struggled financially. The state's fiscal condition has indeed affected us all. Today, we're very pleased to welcome our newly elected Governor, Bruce Rauner. It is refreshing to have our state CEO reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, the voice for business, and extend his willingness to collaborate with us on how we can make Illinois into a thriving, business-friendly community we know it can be. This is the first time in many, many years that a sitting governor has reached out to the Champaign County business community, to the job creators, to start a dialogue about what it will take to turn our state around. And we are so pleased that the governor's office has asked our chamber to help facilitate the start of this conversation. Before I invite Governor Rauner to take the podium, I would first like to introduce a few local dignitaries, ambassadors, and leaders who have joined us today. First off, Phyllis Wise, Chancellor of the University of Illinois, Patsy Petrie, Chairman of the Champaign County Board, Jeff Kibler, Vice Chairman of the Champaign County Board, John Farney, Champaign County Auditor, Gordy Halton, Champaign County Clerk, Laurel Prussing, Mayor of the City of Urbana, Don Gerard, Mayor of Champaign, Bob McClary, Village President of the Village of Savoy, Scott Bennett, Senator, Jim McGuire, Champaign County Board member, Tom Burns, former state representative, Jim Goss, Chairman of the Business Empowered PAC, and finally Joan Dykstra, Village of Savoy. Thank you for being here today. Well, without further ado, please join me in welcoming the very honorable governor of our great state of Illinois. So let's shake it up with a round of applause for Governor Bruce Rauner.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless you. I'm very honored, very excited to be here. Obviously, didn't we get the memo around well enough? I told everybody, they referred to me when I first was gaveling in the General Assembly. They said, His Excellency the Governor. I said, never call me that. I'm no more excellent than anybody else. I'm a hardworking guy who loves Illinois. I am the governor. You can call me that. Don't call me honorable either. I'm no more honorable than anybody else. Honorable, Excellency, His Majesty, none of that. I'm the governor. I'm working for you. I'm working for you. You don't work for me, I work for you. I work for everybody in the state, every family in the state. I vote for the state. And I'm doing it simply because I love the state. I love it. We've raised our 6 kids here. I've built businesses here. I'm an entrepreneur here. I love Illinois. And rather than leave, like a lot of folks I know, I said, no, I'm staying. I'm going to fight. I'm going to turn our state around in a dramatic fashion. And that's why I'm here. God bless. You know, I was here a lot in Champaign County during the campaign. I'm going to be here a lot as governor. I want Champaign County booming. Booming. And I'll tell you this too, it's a very big honor to be here because I love the U of I. I didn't go to U of I, but it's one of the most important educational institutions in America. And it's one of the most important strategic assets the state of Illinois has. And I want the U of I thriving. I want it best in the world. And I'm not just making that up. We can do it. And we're going to work together. Now, I've been honored to work with the Chancellor a bit on her strategic advisory board for the last few years. I've donated and helped endow some things at the school because I love it. It's a very important driver. And I'm going to talk about that as part of my slides. I'm going to give you a little preview for my State of the State speech that I'm giving Wednesday. February 4th in Springfield is my State of the State speech. And then February 18th is my budget address. And I ain't going to do like in the past where you kick it down the road and you delay a month on the budget and you hide and you postpone. No, we're going to run it on time. We're going to be disciplined about it. We're going to lay the process out. And everything's going to run on time. The ships are going to go right. And I'll tell you, the short summary of the State of the State, it ain't good. It ain't good. We're the worst run state in America. Debt, deficits, unemployment, crime in too many communities. Anything that could be managed and led, we're leading on the stuff you don't want to lead on, and we're trailing at the bottom on the stuff you do want to lead on. And I ain't going to take that anymore. We have the hardest working people in America. We have the best location of any state in America. We have the most fertile farms in America. We are the capital, the heart of the center of America in the commerce and trade. We're the heart. And Indiana's kicking our tail. Wisconsin's kicking our tail. Every time a job moves over to Iowa or Missouri, it frosts me. No, I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. And I'm sick and tired of those governors coming up from Texas and Tennessee and, hey, come on down where it's here. And you know what? Not that I tell them stay home. I say, yeah, come on up here. I'll compete with you, and I'm coming down there. I'm going to bring companies up from Texas and coming up here. We're going to compete with everybody and get our economy booming. I love competition. I don't try to block it out. Let us compete. The families in Illinois know how to compete. We're going to have the strongest economy in America, not one of the laggards in the nation. That's what it's all about. It's a big turnaround. I've done turnarounds in my career, 32 years as an investor. This is the biggest I've ever been part of. And we're trying to assemble the biggest, most talented team of executives that we can ever been assembled to turn a state government around. I want leaders from business, leaders from government, leaders from education, leaders from all walks of life, but mostly from Illinois, but also from around America. I want people who are public servants who want to serve the people of Illinois. They're there for the right reasons. They're not in it for a pension. They're not in it for a salary or a career. They're in it because they want to see Illinois become the greatest state and the greatest nation on earth. And I'm very excited. We're still in the middle of our recruiting process, but we've got super talent. People are calling me left and right saying, hey, we want to be part of the team, and I don't need to get paid. I just want to help turn it around. I want to lead the department or lead an agency or lead a task force and get the turnaround done. It's very exciting. It's very gratifying. But it's a big effort, and we got to hit it now. We can't wait. I'm going to hit it right now, bold, aggressive. And today I mostly want to talk about the challenges and lay it out in stark form for you. And on Wednesday, on the 4th, I'm going to lay out the solutions and our recommended or detailed policy plans in detail, both on the 4th and on the 18th. Here's our administration's goal, crystal clear goal. Illinois should be the most competitive state in America and the most compassionate state. By that, when I say competitive, I mean the strongest economy, the fastest rising family incomes, the highest rated job creation, the best schools in America. Let's compete and be the best. Compete and be the best. And let's be compassionate. I believe you can judge us community, you can judge us society by how well we take care of our most vulnerable citizens, our families who are struggling, our citizens who are disabled or vulnerable, or our veterans who are struggling. Folks who need help, deserve help. Most of that should be done by individuals and families and church groups and community groups, but there's a significant role for government in this, and it should drive results and take care of our most vulnerable. You know, the good Lord didn't make us Democrats or Republicans. The good Lord made us in His image to do His work to make the world a better place. And we should do both of these things. We shouldn't only do one of these things. We need to do both of these things. And we should hold ourselves to a high standard when we do these things. Well, here's a fundamental fact I want you, this is the most important slide in some ways I want you to understand. We are on an unsustainable path in Illinois, completely fundamentally unsustainable path. And we can't just nibble around the edges or slow down the death spiral. We need a dramatic change of direction. Dramatic change in direction. And all the chatter, everybody's talking, hey, Bruce, what are you going to do about revenue? What are you going to do about taxes? How high should the income tax be? You know what? That's not, well, I don't care what the income tax rate is, that's not going to fix our problem. Let's not get overly raw, let's get all worked up. What's the income tax rate going to be? Everybody in Springfield wants to talk to me about, let's talk about the fundamentals. Talking about taxes or raising taxes, that will not fix any problem. In fact, it's going to make some of the problems worse. Here, and let's talk about the two core issues. I believe if you're going to be compassionate, we want our tax revenues to get in the classrooms with the students and the teachers, in there, in the classrooms, and we want the money with the recipients of government services, and we need the money helping with impact the families in need, the people of the residents of Illinois in need. We've got a massive problem in between the dollars leaving the taxpayers' pockets and getting to where it needs to go. Massive problem. The bureaucracy in our education system and the bureaucracy in our government is stunning. And the government bureaucracy has been controlling the political process, controlling the government process, and running the government for the bureaucracy's own benefit. Not for the benefit of the taxpayers and not for the benefit of where the money should go. Back in the communities to help the folks who it's designed for. We are going to deal with this. It ain't going to be pretty, it ain't going to be easy, because the groups in there who make their money from that bureaucracy, they are strong. Woo, they're strong. And they don't like what I'm saying. It's okay. It's okay. The government union bosses are doing their job. They're doing their job. We've got to respect that. But somebody's got to do a job for taxpayers. Somebody's got to do a job for school children. Somebody's got to do a job for small business owners. Somebody's got to do a job for homeowners. They've all been left out of this process in Illinois for years. Well, I'm representing those folks. And I'm working for you and everybody, every homeowner, every taxpayer, every small business owner. That's who's got to be represented in the government more. That's why that's what we got to change. We want to talk about tax rates. We got to look at our tax base, and then the big thing is we got to look at the level of economic activity. We have not been a growth state for a long time. We have to change that. If all we want to argue about is tax rates, we will fail. And every economist, whether they're liberal or conservative, doesn't matter. Every economist will tell you the best way to have a growing economy is to have low rates and a broad base. Low, simple, and broad. We don't do that. We tax a bunch of stuff not at all, and we tax a few things really highly, and it's very ineffective, and our economic activity and our business growth is suffering as a result. This has got to be our primary goal. We've got to become pro-business, pro-growth, pro-investment, and we're not today. And we've got to change that big time. Engage, embrace free enterprise, competition, and growth. That's just quick slides, I'll slide through it. I like to compare. So everything I do, I'm going to compare to the 5 states around us, and I'm going to compare ourselves to other states. Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, Texas. So there's 13 states. I'll look at all states, but I'm going to look at 13 states in every metric. And we'll have the data. Let me tell you, the states who touch us are pretty weak siblings, really. I mean, that's a low bar. You know, that's, Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, Florida, they're kicking tails compared. But let's just compare to our neighbors. Look at, come on. Come on. We should be thriving compared to Indiana and Iowa and Tennessee. They're kicking our tails. And it frosts me no end every time I hear a story about a company moving over to Indiana or a job moving up to Wisconsin. And I grew up in Lake County, and I hear stories from my neighbors and my friends, Lake County sliding up the job, sliding up to Kenosha, sliding up to Whitewater, sliding to what? Come on. There's no good reason for that. It should be coming the other way. And when we fix this, I'll travel the nation on my nickel recruiting companies to come to the state of Illinois, come to Champaign County, come to Lake County, come to Effingham County, come to Winnebago County. They'll be coming. They want to be here except for our regulations and our taxes. How does Illinois rank? You pick the issue. We just pick 4 random things. We're always in the bottom. Why? I mean, I like to be an inspirational guy. How about if we aspire to be average? Let's aspire to be average. We'll be way better off. Look at, good grief. Top states, ranking, this is two examples. Where's Illinois? 48. Come on. We won't fix any problem if we stay like this. There's no way. So a few examples. Our workers' comp. It was the #1 complaint. Two complaints I hear from businesses. I put 160,000 miles driving the state in the campaign. I've met with thousands of business owners. Two things I heard a lot of frustration, and many more companies thinking about leaving than I realized. But the two things I heard a lot about, workers' comp and property taxes, probably at the top of the list. And these are relatively, so we're horrible. We're the 7th worst. Unemployment insurance costs, brutally high, way higher than the rest of the nation. Lawsuit climate, we're 46th. Come on. And we have a system, guys, you know what, we're one of the few states where the judges are elected, totally elected. And they get set up who can run by the political machine. So judges get elected, and guess what? The trial lawyers are unlimited in how much campaign cash they can give to the judges when they run. And the trial lawyer who's going to argue the case in front of that judge who gave him 300 grand to run, hello? It's a fundamental conflict of interest. We have a broken system in our legal system. And the trial lawyers and the judges are in cahoots, and they're driving our malpractice insurance through the roof. Our liability rates through the roof, insurance cross-punishing, arbitration brutal on the companies, and so healthcare providers and businesses leave. Hello, we can't have this. This is just fundamental conflict inside our government. We have the 2nd highest property taxes in America. We're basically tied with New Jersey. I don't want to be tied with New Jersey on anything. And it's not a coincidence that we have the highest property taxes in America, and we in New Jersey are neck and neck every year for out-migration. That ain't a coincidence. And I travel the state, and I've met with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of families, and many of them said, Bruce, I'm on limited income. I can't afford to stay in my house anymore. I can't afford the real estate taxes. It's ridiculous. There's no reason for this. Why should we be the worst? This is punishing to our families and our homeowners, and it's punishing to a lot of businesses. And by the way, I don't want to pick too much on New Jersey, but let me tell you something. There's a lot of people saying, oh, it's happy feet, New Jersey's getting turned around. Let me tell you something. The reason there's happy feet in New Jersey is because they're not paying in their pensions. That ain't a solution, and I'm not going to do that in Illinois. If we got a pension, we're going to pay it, and we're going to. Now, we need to change our pensions because they're unaffordable, and we can talk about that. The math is stunning. I don't know if it's in these slides. I've picked out only a few of the slides for every talk. I've done this a half dozen times, so not every slide's in this deck, but there's a lot to talk about in pensions, and we got a very detailed plan on how we're going to fix it. But here's an issue. Illinois, this is, again, where we're not thoughtful about this. We are very narrow in our sales tax base and high in our sales tax. And we're out of balance, and we're not competitive. And we've got to look at our entire tax code. And you know what? So with all the anti-business structure and the regulations and the taxes, guess what? Look at this. These are weak sisters around us. Look at us for the last, what's that, 10, 11 years? Look at the out-migration from Illinois. Hello? How are we going to pay for pensions with that? How are we going to fund schools with that? There's the numbers. Anybody who can choose, people who can choose are leaving Illinois. The migration among the states, we're losing. And people are leaving to get a job, or they're leaving because they're connected to job creation and they're moving their company and taking their jobs with them. Big problem. Big problem. And here's a really critical issue. So here in Illinois, we've had declining real average family income. This is a metric for me. This is a fundamental. I want real family income in Illinois rising. It's been falling for a long time. Other states it's been rising. It's not rising in Illinois. This is key to the American dream, the better life. We have to have rising incomes. That comes not by force, but by competition and a thriving economy and companies competing to hire workers and a workforce that's highly educated, well-trained, can drive the maximum productivity to drive their wages up. That's what we got to do, and we're not doing it. Okay, so now let's talk about the government for just a second. So this is the definition of unsustainability. Jobs, basically flat. That's our government. This is state government spending. Yeah, exactly. Hello. Not sustainable. Just not. We can all, you know, and raising income taxes are not going to fix this problem. And you know what really frosts me? So we've had our debt going up, and the politicians have been hiding. When we don't pay a pension payment according to the actuarial calculations, according to the assets in there, that's basically, it has the net effect of borrowing from the pensions at 8.3%, because our pensions have been generating 8.3% on average for 32 years. So we've been borrowing for years. And this is bipartisan. This isn't only one party doing this. We've been borrowing against the pensions at 8.3% for years. And this can started getting kicked down the road a long time. Well, I'm governor now, well, the can is stopping. And it's going to be a little bit, when we put the, you know, grab the can, it's going to cause a whole lot of, you know, consternation, but we got to do it. But when we don't pay bills, you know, government accounting is, if the dollar didn't leave the drawer, we didn't spend it. Oh my goodness, yes we did. With accrual accounting in business, you couldn't run a business without that. We don't do that in government. You don't pay a bill, we didn't spend the money. Hello? So we incur liabilities, we don't pay, and you know what? We're paying 12% interest on a lot of the bills we haven't paid. You're paying 12% interest. On a lot of the other bills, we're paying 9% interest. And on the pensions that we're not funding, we're paying 8.3% interest. Hello? And look, what really frosts me, they raised taxes very highly in fiscal year 10-11. That's still going up. Hello? And they're not honest about this. This is not, they've been hiding. And now when I get in and look under the covers, you know, it's people in the media, after we won the election, I said, it's worse than I thought. Let me tell you something. I've been looking deep under the covers of these different departments. There's bills in the drawers, and you know what my predecessor did? He said, I'm going to win this election, you in this department, we're going to give you a lower appropriation than last year because otherwise the media would beat me up and I got to look like I'm being disciplined. You can ignore the appropriation. Just keep doing what you need to do. And by the way, we're going to win the election, and then we'll jack up the taxes after, and then we'll fix all, you know, you can even go more. So not only do you not have to cut it all, you can stay at your old level, and we'll work it out later. And so I walk in there and like, hello? And we got departments running out of money in the next couple weeks. We're halfway through the year and they're running out of money. Come on. Well, I'll move on. So conflicts of interest in state government, they're everywhere. Let's talk about one of the biggest, maybe the biggest. So we finally woke up and we stopped taking political campaign cash at the state level from businesses who contract with the state. And Republicans did a lot of shenanigans with this, I'll tell you. Republicans would run for office, they'd get business, big cash from companies that contract with the state, and they'd make sure their buddies got the state contracts or whatever. It's just unforgivable. But we've stopped a lot of that. We haven't stopped all of it, we stopped a lot of it. But we didn't stop the government unions. The government unions contract 100% with the state. And they're unlimited. And how does it go? Think about this. I mean, so you're a elected official, I'm a government union boss, and I say, okay, you're running for office. Here, I'll give you $3 million from my campaign, you know, our dues, which are taxpayer paid. I'll give you 5,000 of my members to work, and we'll at least say they're not doing it on taxpayer time. And then after you win, let's negotiate our pension and our work rules and our health care. Come on. That's a conflict of interest. If that went on in business all the time, somebody would get fired at a minimum, but probably somebody go to jail. And this is what's going on here. Fewer dollars where they need to go, jobs leaving the Illinois, and the little circle up there with the politicians and their buddies making a lot of money for each other. That's a broken system right there. That's a broken loop right there. Here's just one factoid. There's a whole bunch we could list, but so Blagojevich, he put in card check in the government. And I have friends who are AFSCME members who told me at Lincoln Day dinners, they'd come to me and say, I didn't even want to have to join. I didn't want to join the union. They came in our department and said, sign this card. And I said, no, I don't want to join the union. You sign this card. I said, no. We know where your wife works. We know where your kids go to school. You sign this card. It'll make your life holy heck. Forces unionization. Gives huge raises if you're in the union, huge raises in the contracts, no raises, denying raises for non-union members. If you don't join the union, you get no pay increase. Join the union, we'll get a pay increase. Don't join, you don't get one. Come on. That's just wrong. That is just fundamentally wrong. You got millions and millions of dollars of campaign cash. We are the most unionized state government in America. And it's all a closed loop with the politicians and the government union bosses, forcing workers to do this, forcing the taxpayers out of the loop. It's wrong. It's broken. Quinn and Blagojevich, $25 million from this group. It's a fundamental conflict of interest. Just one example. So, teachers don't have a choice in Illinois. They have to. If you're going to teach, you got to pay the union dues. It's $1,000 forced, whether you agree with the philosophy, the politics, or whatever. It's not right. I believe people spin me as, oh, Bruce, you're anti-union. I'm not anti-union. I'm anti-conflict of interest. I want workers choose to join a union if you want. Don't join a union if you want. People should be able to decide. I believe in freedom and American choice. I think that's the right thing. My grandfather was in a union. I'm not anti-union, but I don't want conflict and I don't want force. I don't want threat. People should be able to decide. So let's just talk quickly about education. Here's an unsustainable slide. Our student population has been declining slowly, not rapidly. It's been flat to, it's down. K-12 spending up substantially. This is not sustainable. And what's really tough for our property owners is the state share. We're 50th. We're bottom. We're the worst state for state support to education. We're the lowest state government support of education of any state in America. Terrific. There's another great place to be. The worst. On everything that matters. Why are we always 48th or 49th or 50th? So, and this forces the state share has been sliding down, and this forces more and more pressure on local property taxes. Unsustainable. The education bureaucracy in Illinois is stunningly big. I won't bore you with all the lists, but there's just a lot, departments and groups and commissions and bureaucracy. And we have hope I didn't do that. So we have 7,000 units of government in Illinois. Double the typical state. 7,000 units of government. And here's just where some of the, so we put 150 unfunded mandates on the education system since '92. School districts are legally barred. We restrict by regulations at state level what school districts can do and how much they can contract with private or independent or to save money. It's not allowed. And the prevailing wage restrictions and the PLA, the forced, the project labor agreements, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars every year, forced in extra cost, put on the burden of the taxpayers, and it keeps us, if we have to spend 20% more to build a building, to build a school, think how many fewer classrooms we can build with the same amount of money. Think how many fewer education services we can support from the taxpayers given that cost structure. Not competitive, it's not fair. We have forced uncompetitive bidding in Illinois. It's not fair. The governments ought to be able to choose how you do your bidding, who's going to bid and what the rules should be. Why does the state force it and force it higher? Because of that loop that I was talking about. That's why. And this is a big issue for me. This is a ballpark number, but basically half of the money's getting into the classroom for the teacher's salary who's working and with the kids, and half is going to stuff, other stuff. And its number, depends on the school district and the specific issues, but we have got to get a handle on the stuff outside the administration, the bureaucracy, the layers, and get it in the classroom, force teacher salaries. I'm a big advocate for teachers. I want teachers well paid with good benefits and treated like professionals. And the money that goes into the other stuff doesn't get with the teachers. And that's a big thing we've got to deal with and change. Here's abuse. Everywhere I look in the pension system, and we're going to do a big pension reform, but everywhere I look in the pension system, there's a lot of abuse. People getting stuffed into a substitute teaching job for a few days, they get a pension. People getting 2 pensions, 3 pensions, and the spiking that's been in the teachers' contracts and with the workers' contracts, it's been very abusive. There's been a lot of, hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. I'll jack up your salary right at the end. So when you leave, you can get a much bigger. We got people making more in retirement, way more than when they were working. That ain't right. That was not the intent of the system. And then they changed it. There used to be a lot of spiking. Then they put it down with this language. And what happened is now 6% is basically the contracted floor, how much of the spiking goes on. That's not fixing the problem. And it's a typical Illinois way of fixing something. This is, media was on it, and it doesn't really, they're cronies. The closed loop is still protecting itself with this. And here, this really frosts me. So now there's 2 slides on community colleges. We're failing on our education system. And by the way, the ISAT, to the Illinois Standardized Test, the ISAT, good riddance. I'm glad it's gone. It's been a travesty for years, and it's been manipulated to dummy down and make it look like our schools were getting better when they weren't. So it's good the ISAT's gone. I am worried about Park and how politicized that whole thing is. I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure that out. But we are not educating our kids to succeed in college or career. And we are forcing our community colleges to become remedial schools. Our community colleges are too often, their job is to make up for the failure of K-12 school. That's not what community colleges should be about. Community colleges should be educating people with specific occupational, technical, and vocational training so they can maximize their incomes. And we've got to fix this. We have to fix this. The high schools and the K-8 has to do its job. So we don't need this level of remediation that's been going on. And look at this. This really frosts me. We've got declines in participation in technical training and vocational training. And we used to do vocational training well 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And you know what? One of the biggest complaints as I travel the state for business, I would talk to business owners and they'd say, gosh, we're frustrated with the taxes and the regulations, and Indiana's looking better, Texas is looking better. But you know what? Hundreds of businesses said to me, Bruce, we've got jobs here. We have jobs. We'd like to hire more people. We can't find the people who've got the technical skills. And this is I'm not talking about rocket science. I'm talking about technical skills in welding or basic computer skills to fill the jobs. That's a fundamental failure of our education system. We have got to fix this, and we've got, that's one, I don't like the European economic model for lots of reasons, but you know what, something that Germany does well in a lot of European countries, they are rigorous about education, and you can choose, you want to be on the professional track to go to law school, medical school, liberal arts, or do you want to, rigorous, high-quality vocational and occupational training. And you can choose that as a teenager, and I think we've got to do more of that. We've got to go much more in that direction. So our young people, because not everybody's destined to be a 4-year. I mean, hell, let's have, excuse my language, let's have everybody go to 4-year college. That's terrific if they want to, but there's a lot who don't want to or can't or whatever. Let's get, there's no reason everybody can't have the technical skills and occupational skills to have a good career. Not a minimum wage job, a good career. So, U of I, quickly. Love U of I, critical asset, very important. And I want the U of I I'm very focused on this. I haven't been down yet because I've been drinking from a fire hose since I won the election, but I'm going to be very focused on the U of I. U of I already is a major driver for us. I want to take it to a whole nother several levels up and really have the U of I a massive, powerful engine for economic growth and job creation through the state. We can do this. U of I can do much more than already. Already good, very good, but we can do more. Here's just some preliminary thoughts, my biases. First of all, I'm hearing a lot of chatter from my friends that some of the adjustments, whether it's pension stuff or other things, is hurting our competitiveness in recruiting faculty. We can't let that happen. We have got to have the best faculty in the world at the U of I. Must compete, must have the best faculty in the world. Best researchers in the world. And I need to know from the team what we got to tweak or change or adjust. Have to have the best faculty in the world. We have got to deal with the bureaucracy. Goodness, everywhere. I mean, I haven't gone deep with our team yet on the bureaucracy at the U of I, but I got friends who, we got to deal with it. And I'm going to demand that we deal with it, because I'd like to be able to put more resources in here, but I want them going to where they need to go, not into the bureaucracy. We've got to be competitive. And I have other slides, I'm not doing them today. The cost for the identical job in the government sector, in the education sector, the cost, the salary for that job in the real world, in the business world, the disparities are pretty stunning. And it's not fair. It's not fair to taxpayers, it's not fair to the students, it's not fair to the faculty when their money should be where we need to compete, where the quality gets driven. I think you're starting to take the steps on tuition. We're again, why are we at the bottom? 46th for university affordability. Why are we always at the bottom of stuff? And here, this is a big deal to me. This one, big deal. I really want the U of I, because it's got one of the greatest engineering schools in the world, one of the greatest applied sciences programs in the world. We should make sure it's impacting the state and driving the economy of the state. And I'm a venture capitalist, and I want to see more venture capital here in Champaign, more venture capital, more advanced manufacturing, more driving of impact. And I want to get the resources here to help the U of I expand its footprint here in Champaign dramatically, but also around the state. This is a big deal. I'm very focused on this. If the university will work with me on these issues, I want to help make this happen on a major scale. Huge economic driver for the next 30, 40 years. It'll be very exciting to make that happen. So, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I look forward to being your ally and your partner. We got a lot to do. We're trying to be a very open and two-way communication with the administration. If you've got a problem or an issue, let us know. I can't fix a problem I don't know about. If you see an opportunity we're not taking advantage of, please let us know. If you're mad that we're going in a direction you think is fundamentally wrong, let us know. I'm working for you. Our team is working for you. We want to try to be responsive. I'll apologize right now. I joked before drinking from a fire hose. It's really true. I mean, there's a lot to say grace over, and I feel like by about 9 o'clock every night, I feel like the fire hose has been in my face. It's not going sideways. It's kind of going like this. And the time to move is now. The time to act is now, and we need your input. If you're not thriving, we're failing. And I'm going to measure my success by how strong the business community is around the state and how many jobs we're creating and how many high-quality careers, with high-paying careers we're creating. And that's what you do. And I want to be your best ally you've ever had. I want to be the best advocate you've ever had. And I'll test. I'll be here in Champaign County a lot. I'll be testing, seeing how we're doing. There's a lot. It's hard to move everything on a dime, but we can begin the process. So thank you for your time today. It's been an honor to be with you. I look forward to working together. Thanks very much.